My next guest understands this well. Sean Duffy is the Secretary of Transportation and Acting Administrator of NASA. Welcome, Secretary Duffy. Thank you so much for joining us.
It is great to be with you, Batya. Thanks for having me on. Very grateful. Congratulations on the show as well. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So let's begin with this. Is AOC right that the GOP is luring in men by legitimizing their racism and their desire to be kings?
Right, because you have Republicans who say men aren't toxic, right? We want to celebrate masculinity. And what's happened with young men today is pretty remarkable. They've been told you should be responsible. You should respect women. You should get a job. You should work hard. You should actually go back to church. Be honorable. That's what they're called to do by this new movement within the Republican Party. And they've embraced it, which is wonderful. But I love your opening on the No Kings protest, which is actually a Hate America protest. Donald Trump, king, he won the 7 swing states, he won the popular vote, and then everything he's doing, he actually ran on the campaign trail. He told everybody he was going to do this, and the majority of Americans voted for him. This is just disenfranchised Democrats, but also George Soros is funding it. The Socialists of America are funding and supporting it, and so are the Communists of America supporting this rally. So again, it is the offbeat crew that lost and are angry that are going to come and protest and say Donald Trump is a king. No, he's just a great, strong American leader.
So speaking of work and jobs, you oversee a lot of truckers to whom you have become something of a hero. I don't know if you know this, but I've been talking to a lot of them. Your insistence that truck drivers have an English language proficiency in order to have that privilege of driving these big rigs. This is something that is extremely important to truck drivers. It's extremely important to you. You have just withheld $40 million from California over its refusal to comply. Okay. Can you explain to our audience why this is so important?
Yeah, so first, just like when you go get your driver's license, you have to take a vision test. And if you don't have 20/20 vision, you're probably going to be required to wear glasses because it's a safety issue. This English proficiency requirement is not new. I didn't create it. It goes back a couple of decades, multiple presidents. It's just that I've said I'm going to enforce the law and make sure that there's compliance. And every state in the country who wasn't complying has started to comply, except for one. California has refused to comply and said, listen, we're not going to enforce that rule. You don't have to speak English. You don't have to understand road signs for you to operate in the state of California. The problem, Batya, is those who are licensed in California, they can't speak English or understand road signs, they're getting in trucks and driving all through the other 49 states. And so they're endangering other lives in America because of the rules that California refuses to follow. So we're taking away money from California. We're going to drive safety, even though Gavin Newsom, again, cares more about people who don't speak the language, and it's frustrating. Kind of one last thing, Batya, you mentioned the truckers like what we're doing. There's been companies, family companies that have been operating for 40, 50, 60 years in trucking. They've been decimated. They're about to go out of business. We're losing the American trucking industry to a bunch of people who've come in from the outside who don't speak the language. They've driven down the prices, and now our standard truckers can't make a living wage because of what's happened. Like you, Batya, I stand up for the American worker. I'm going to support them. I'm going to make sure we follow the rules, and they can do great work but also earn a great wage.
I think you're excellently framing this because it's all part of a larger commitment from the administration to what is really a re-Americanization of the American workforce, ensuring that working class Americans have access to the American dream. Now, we're currently in a shutdown, though, and that dream is on hold for a lot of Americans, including a lot of Americans you work with closely, air traffic controllers. I want to play you a clip from a NewsNation town hall this week in which an air traffic controller spoke to the shutdown. Let's have that.
Under the current political climate, do you think that this shutdown could actually be longer than the previous shutdowns due to the external pressures, political pressures that we're having an effect right now? Because I am actually driving DoorDash when I get off work just to kind of make sure I can pay for my daughter's tuition.
So this is Jack, who actually has to drive for DoorDash in order to pay his bills. Now, I imagine, Secretary Duffy, to you, this is an easy question. Well, you know, this is the Democrats' fault, but you're a man who has 9 children. I'm sure at some point throughout your parenting, you get to a stage where you feel a little bit like, okay, I don't care who started it, just put an end to it. What is your message to someone like Jack?
So first off, I'm so grateful for our controllers who last Tuesday got 90% of their pay, not the full 100%. They are not going to get paid in the next round because of this shutdown. And again, for guys like Jack, I'm grateful. But I think it's important for America to understand that we're asking our air traffic controllers to not just work 5 days or 40 hours a week. We're asking them to work oftentimes 6 days, 50 plus hours a week because we don't have enough controllers. And then to think, Batya, that after that they have to go and drive for DoorDash or drive for Uber, so they're going to have enough money to put food on the table or pay their mortgage. It's unacceptable. And they're frustrated. They deserve to be treated better. And I don't think they can reconcile why Democrats want to support health care for illegal migrants and put those people over their paychecks and those people who keep our skies safe. And so, but this is an important point. At some point, you don't care who started it, you want it to end. But you also can't be held hostage, right? I mean, Mike Johnson and John Thune have said, listen, let's just have a clean CR. Let's open up the government, current funding levels, and let's negotiate over the course of the next 6 weeks. Democrats have said, no, we're going to shut down the government. The difference, though, Batya, is that Republicans are trying to minimize the pain on the American people. Donald Trump saying, let's pay troops. How could we pay air traffic controllers? What could we do to minimize the pain? Remember back when the shutdown happened under Barack Obama, he made it painful as possible. Put barriers around our open-air museums and monuments and memorials in Washington, D.C., so people who came to see those memorials or monuments, they couldn't go in because of the shutdown. He shut down our trails in the national forests, trying to inflict pain. Republicans don't do that. We're trying to minimize the pain that Democrats are inflicting on our people. I hope Democrats come to their senses really quickly, because yesterday at the DNC, their national headquarters, they're on the rooftop partying, drinking booze, drinking wine, having a yay all time, all the while American citizens are suffering. It's shameful.
How is the president talking about the shutdown? Is he very anxious for it to end? What does he say to you about this?
So first off, the president's a deal maker. You covered what's happened in Gaza, and he's ended 7, 8 wars. I mean, he's really good at it, and his heart is probably to negotiate. But he understands that if you negotiate with Democrats who are trying to hold you hostage, they'll never stop holding you hostage. And again, especially when Republicans are giving you a clean CR, clean funding. I think he understands that, and he's frustrated. He wants Democrats to come to their senses. But again, he's going to have to wait him out, as is the House and the Senate. And by the way, I lived through these too, Batya. There's a fuel to a shutdown. You don't know when that fuel is going to burn out. I hope, though, that after the Hate America protest that's happening today, that will end and Democrats will come to their senses and let America keep working and keep functioning.
So I have to ask you about some current events. John Bolton was indicted on what sound like some actually very serious charges of mishandling classified documents. Of course, presumption of innocence until he's proven guilty, but these are serious charges. He joins Tish James, Jim Comey, other critics of the president. I guess my question to you is this a scary time to be a public servant? Do you guys ever discuss this in the cabinet amongst yourselves? What's the scuttlebutt on these indictments?
Well, listen, I think it's important that everyone follow the law, right? If you're a Republican or Democrat, just because you serve the public at a high level doesn't mean you get a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's not the way it works. And I think if you even look back to Hillary Clinton and what happened with the classified emails and the bleach bidding of her server and not preserving records, there was a lot there, and she wasn't prosecuted. A lot of people were frustrated by that she was above the law. Donald Trump was prosecuted to the nth degree, and he didn't do anything, but he was prosecuted. I think we want to get back to, hey, listen, let's enforce the law. People should follow it, and I think if that's the model, we'll see what happens with John Bolton. We'll see what happens with Comey, but that should be the standard that we all live by in America.
We had a mayoral debate for the New York City mayoral race. It was Mamdani, Cuomo, Sliwa. Mamdani is pretty much on track to win. Do you have plans to withhold funding, maybe for this new Penn Station overhaul if he doesn't comply with ICE deportations? What can we expect from the cabinet, the Trump administration, from you, if he wins and then puts up a fight on these important aspects of the president's agenda?
You know, listen, we have certain rules and guidelines by which we operate at DOT. I also work for the president. It's really interesting. Oftentimes, the city of New York has not been that great to Donald Trump during the presidential years. He still loves New York. In his budget, he put in the 2nd Avenue subway. He put in his budget the Gateway Project. He also supports the Penn Station rebuild. Again, we'll have to navigate those scenarios when they come, should they come. I hope that Mamdani, gets past the rhetoric and sees how you can actually govern and how there is a partnership between, state, local, and federal governments. If he doesn't want that partnership, again, we have no problem walking away. Again, it only benefits the city of New York, but I think he would come to his senses because New Yorkers are American citizens, and we have an obligation to support them like we do everyone else across government. And if he's a willing partner, we'll join hands and get those great projects done.
I want to ask you, what is your position on autonomous vehicles and trucks, and then on drone delivery of packages? These are issues that I know a lot of truck drivers are thinking a lot about. On the one hand, technology of the future. On the other hand, it has the potential to displace a lot of working-class Americans from jobs that could secure them a middle-class standard of living. Where do you stand on these issues?
Yeah, so first off, I'm bullish on autonomous vehicle technology. I think it's going to be remarkable. It's going to revolutionize how people and products move. I am cognizant of what can happen with job losses. Right now, there's some testing in some very short-run areas, especially in Texas, to see how it operates. Is it safe? I don't see, though, Batya, from coast to coast or long-run trucks being autonomous. You might have some short hauls, from one close community to another or within a city. Potentially, that's going to be the use of it, not the long distance hauling. Also, with drone technology, it's going to be remarkable. How you get a hot cup of coffee or how you get an Amazon package or a Walmart package is going to radically change. We're going to take cars off the streets. We're going to be able to deliver much faster, much cheaper. And so it's an exciting time. The way, again, products and people move is going to radically change over the course of the next, 2, 3, 4 years. I'm Goldilocks, right? I don't want to go too fast with regulation, and I don't want to go too slow. I want to get it just right. And that's the job that I have to do. And it's more of an art than a science. But again, this technology is going to develop, Batya, and it's going to be in China or it's going to be here. I want us to develop the technology here. I want us to win here. I want the jobs to be here. And so that's what we're doing at DOT, helping foster innovation, make sure it's safe, and see where the future takes us.
Secretary Duffy, may God bless and protect you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Batya. Thanks for having me on.